My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Pisces. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot, and for this evening, I'm going to be doing your general reading, your past, present, future, your 9 card spread. I'm going to be using the regular tarot deck, clarify with the vampire deck, draw a special vampire card, draw a vampire oracle, and finish off with 3 yes or no answers for thee. But before we proceed, I want to introduce you, which I'm going to be using next week, called the Macabre Tarot, and it's kind of designed in the shape of a coffin, right? So, and this deck is going to be mostly used on how I can help you guys overcome your fears and stuff like that. So I'm going to be using those next week, so please feel free to stay tuned. I already have a separate video where I kind of gave out this general sample reading to see what kind of readings you would want to get from something like that. But anyway, let's get started with your reading. Okay, the general card is 8 of Pentacles reversed. Let's look at the first row. Oh my goodness, okay. The World upright. Fixed energy of Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus energy. The Devil reversed. Okay, it's interesting how I'm not allowed to show these cards, but they came, World upright, Devil reversed, Capricorn energy. But I'm allowed to show this one of the Knight of Pentacles upright. So it looked like that you entered into this world, you mostly, defeated the devil, you overcame some kind of battle, or you really just released yourself from some kind of negative situation, and here you are pretty much either heading out slowly yet surely, or you're waiting for something to head towards you slowly yet surely as well. The thing is, it's like patience is good and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, I just think, do whatever it takes. Sometimes it's really good just to kind of wait, for any kind of opportunity, because the thing about the Knight of Pentacles, it's a slow yet certain movement. So there's definitely something moving, even though you might not see it immediately. You might not immediately see any kind of process or progress developing in other ways. But yet, be rest assured that as long as the fact that you actually released yourself from the devil situation, mostly put yourself in a position of actually having the confidence to get out into this world, to say, okay, now we're going to just see what we can, get out of, this whole recovery mode and stuff like that. But anyway, I can understand how, any kind of like patience could definitely be incredibly daunting, where you just think, my goodness, how long do I have to wait? Do I have to wait a day, a week, a month, a year? And so the thing is it really depends on how long you are willing to wait for this. But of course, it's all about even the clarification. And it's also just a general reading. So please feel free to take it with a grain of salt as per usual. In current times, Ace of Wands reversed. 9 of Swords. And then you get 3 of Cups. Okay, so I can see how the waiting game kind of puts you in a position where you think, I have no time and energy or motivation, and I just feel like I'm just being put into fear, into a nightmarish, fearful situation. But let me just say one thing, is that you will be celebrating something, maybe because of the whole waiting and patience game. And that could sometimes just be such a big nightmare on so many ways, where you pretty much just think, yeah, but when is it going to happen? How long is it going to be? Why do I have to be the one to get struck with all of this, sense of uncertainty? Well, because the thing is I think I even mentioned this to even Scorpio, or maybe even Libra, or one of the two. I don't remember which one per se. But the thing is sometimes, well, by doing nothing, you're actually still doing something. The thing is just because, you're not spinning your wheels mindlessly, just, and wasting energy, sometimes it's good just to kind of, sit back and think, okay, it's like we just have to wait a bit and do nothing. Because, let's say that you're at a bus stop, for example, and you're pretty much just thinking, yeah, well, how long? There's no time frame on this thing, or, I just don't know how long it's going to be, and you're just sitting there. Well, sometimes just sitting there is actually going to be benefiting you, rather than just thinking, you know what, we're just going to start walking towards the next, bus line, or maybe let's just do this and that, because sometimes, you just don't know, if it's, if it could also end up in like in a missed opportunity, or actually causing bigger problems in the end. But anyway, I do see the Queen of Wands for you in the future. Confidence and strength. Here you are just kind of letting go of something, and it kind of puts you in a directionless position. Now, this is where you could also be worried about the future to think, because, whenever I pull my future cards, it's not a guarantee it's going to happen. Like, even if you were to get a Wheel of Fortune or death reversed or anything, it doesn't guarantee anything. It's mostly what your subconscious desires or is worried about. You know why? Because here you could also just be thinking, if I wait at this bus stop, what if it never shows up? Yes, here you are pretty much patiently waiting, but nothing is happening and you still feel directionless and lost. But yet but that's, why it's just only an example. Because the thing is you could always, just occasionally, ask other people or even ask whoever is helping you or guiding you or advising you to say, hey, I've been waiting for like maybe a week or now even a month and stuff like that. What is, taking so long and stuff like that? And then maybe people at a certain point, they could say, oh yeah, by the way, this is what just came in. Or, actually, no, we still have no idea and stuff like that. Then, my suggestion would, be in a situation like that, then it's up to you to decide. Do you want to keep waiting and just being like the Queen of Wands and then we'll face this in the future? Or do you want to try to see what you can get out of it by taking action in your own way, right? But anyway, clarification for the world. You get 3 of Grails. So you entered into this world and you were celebrating something. So this is already a very beautiful start. And even if this took place in the past, doesn't mean that it's, it was never meant to happen. So I feel like that you were celebrating something. Maybe you just brought in a new fledgling, or maybe you just got some kind of promotion, maybe, what have you in other ways, but you had so much confidence, you were on top of your world, and you were celebrating something. So at least, acknowledge, because the thing is, I will, talk about the 8 of Pentacles reverse when we get there. But anyway, it was so beyond impressed, that you were actually able to experience and this beautiful combination. And with the Devil reverse, you get 2 of Wands. So you released yourself from the devil and you went out on this journey. So, whatever happened and stuff like that, maybe you really negotiated, a really good price or a job, what have you, and stuff like that. But here you are actually just thinking, okay, we finally released ourselves from this negative event. So now we're going to head out into this world. And so, but I think, okay, it's like everybody, it's like, well, you learn mostly from experience. That's the deep and honest and sad truth about many things, is that you gain so much knowledge from actually being present in the situation, from the positives of 3 of Cups, 2 times, to even the negatives of suddenly, dealing with the 9 of Swords. So, but I'm just beyond impressed that you were able to release yourself from this negative situation of whatever it was and stuff like that. And maybe that's why you walked out, because maybe, let's say that you did, leave some kind of toxic work environment, and then you pretty much just said, I'm so happy I'm out of that situation. Because here you are pretty much, maybe waiting for the next job or career or something, or maybe you're waiting, or something is heading off towards you slowly yet surely, but yet you get Lord of Scepters, also known as King of Wands. So you had so much confidence from having to be patiently waiting for this Knight of Pentacles to show up, which I think is remarkable, because the thing is, if you still, believe, have hope and faith, and those are strong traits like Leo, and that mostly kind of, will keep you going. It's kind of like you think, okay, it's like we're still kind of, going down this misty path, and we still have no idea where it's guiding us, but as long as we can mostly keep up the faith and hope, eventually something is going to transpire and stuff like that, right? So here you are pretty much just thinking, okay, we're patiently waiting for the next opportunity, so let's see where it's going to be taking us towards. So here, it's like, well, you're not putting time and energy into something because you're finally getting something, this new job in current times. Now, this is where I want to actually talk about the 8 of Pentacles, because I did mention, I think it was Scorpio. And sometimes by doing nothing, sometimes, suddenly, this unforeseen event just, pops up in your life. Let's say that you did leave your toxic work environment and you're in a position where you're not getting paid, or you're not, or maybe you did get a severance package, whatever it is and stuff like that. I have no idea. Half of what, modern day humans are all about. Trust me, I have no idea. So please don't ask me about that stuff. But the thing is, by doing nothing, suddenly you get something. But of course, whatever worth having doesn't come easy. So the point is, it's like when you are being presented and offered something, I would always definitely make sure that it is a legitimate and honest offering, and not something that's some kind of fool's gold, fool's errand kind of, path and voyage and stuff like that. That's kind of putting you in a sense of uncertainty. Because 9 of Swords, you're worried, and suddenly you get hit with the Hierophant. So you are scared about maybe this unforeseen event that's taking place, but it's putting you in a sense of worry. Why would that actually be putting fear into your life and stuff like that? Because the thing is, it's like, if it's an honest to truth where the contract is clear as day and crystal, I know it's not really good for me, but if it's clear where everything is just all jotted down towards, just 100% honesty, and you could always resign, 2 months in advance, stuff like that, then, that's what's probably putting this, irrational fear inside your mind, because, like, even, next week, I'm going to help you guys overcome your fears and stuff like that. So if you worry about any kind of like job opportunities or offerings, maybe, some of those readings could definitely benefit you either way. But here I see you incredibly devoted, but yet something is kind of, it's mostly, based off of fear. But, let's just continue, because here you are actually celebrating something, and then you get hit with the Ten of Wands, hard work and feeling burdened. Well, is that what's kind of causing you to feel scared or worried about something? Is that suddenly, you underestimated how heavy the workload was going to be and stuff like that? Because the thing is, it's like, and nothing worth having comes easy, and normally, hard work should definitely be paid off. But if you really feel like, that this is all too much for you to handle, where you actually think, what, I just don't know, I would just still, maybe talk to the person who offered this job to you and then say, hey, I'm just kind of, I think I may have, I think, this is not really going to work out for me. And if people are honest and respectful, they'll say, oh, but of course, yeah, don't worry about it. But if it was just a real, dishonest kind of offering, they would say, excuse me, what, you're the one that's, accepted this offering. Didn't you read the vague contract or even the verbal agreement we had? Those are always kind of a big glitchy areas, right? But I think, it's like, I think, you really have nothing to worry about, to be honest, because, you are celebrating something, but yet, it does come with the price of hard work. Because here you are, Queen of Wands, Confident City, Leo energy, and you get Nine of Pentacles of abundance. So I feel like that everything is just going to work out for you in the end. And I feel like that, sometimes, when you have to kind of get into a routine of something new, any kind of routine, that's always very scary, because you just don't know what to expect. It's all new. You just don't, if somebody, sent you down this, this misty path and voyage to say, okay, now you're going to go down that path, and you think, well, that just, the mist is too thick. How am I supposed to know where I'm heading off towards? And if people say, oh, don't worry about it, just head off towards it and stuff like that and hope for the best, and you think, no wonder it would put anybody in a uncertain position where you think, my goodness, what's going on here? But here you are going to be in a confident position, and you are going to be enjoying the Nine of Pentacles in the future. So maybe you're just, maybe you don't have to do anything else, because you get Lovers. So here you are pretty much not putting, that much hard work into it, because the General card is definitely about not feeling motivated or anything, but this is about thinking, what, I'm not protecting or defending anything, because you are being presented with this crossroads of opportunities as well. And then here you are in a position where you feel kind of directionless, and you feel kind of like, I have no plan, but yet the sun is going to be shining for you eventually. So the sun will eventually break, the nightmare of that heavy mist and stuff like that. So to sum up, today's reading, especially in the future, is that, especially when it comes to, the future, readings and stuff like that, it's mostly what you want, a dream and desire. So if you want to have confidence, I see confidence for you with, the Nine of Pentacles. If you pretty much just don't want to feel like you want to put a lot of hard work into it, maybe, there's going to be other options and opportunities for you to choose from. Because maybe if you just don't like the Ten of Wands, maybe there could be a different position for you. And if you feel kind of, stuck in directionless, you don't really have a good plan, you do get the third, my goodness, the third Leo card of a sense of clarity. The sun is going to be shining for you. So either way, it's like you could be heading down towards one of the, the crossroads, but you could also just be still, sort of struggling to get into the routine of your career or job, what have you, in other ways. But the sun is definitely going to be shining for you, and everything, it just looks like you're going to be in a very beautiful position either way. Wow. Because speaking of the fourth Leo card, you get Queen of Wands again. So you're going to be in a real top tier. You're going to be real, like, magnetic force, confidence, strength within yourself in the future. And even with the Nine of Pentacles, you could just be definitely living a lavish lifestyle, of whatever it may be. Maybe you have a Leo in your life, or maybe what have you, but there's definitely going to be this really beautiful sense of strength and confidence and magnetic force. The sun is pretty much going to be shining for you. I mean, my goodness, today's reading, it just looked a little bit uncertain, but it just looked like that the mist more or less has kind of faded away towards this beautiful card. And then Oracle wants to continue with courtesy, thoughtful, polite, and good manners. So the thing is, it's like when you're actually dealing with any kind of situation, it's always good to be incredibly, courteous, but it's also good to be, thoughtful, have good manners in other ways, but it's always good to put a lot of thought into any kind of voyage and quest. And sometimes, it's always good just to kind of think, you know what, well, maybe, just, even having, this polite, aura of actually just thinking, it's all just going to be okay. But it also just enhances other people's, happiness as well. It's like, when you enter a store or something, or any kind of like, public area, and then, the people there saying, hi, how are you doing? And a lot of people say, oh, fine, thanks, I'm doing pretty good. Then it also, I was about to say something ancient, but it enhances, the whole positive experience where people actually think, okay, I can work with this person. Because, if you actually come across as this real, shiny, individual, also filled with optimism and joy, other people will actually be thinking, wow, I like this person. But if you come in and you say, I'm just really having the worst day of my life, as a matter of fact, everything is just blah, blah, blah. It's just dour and unhappy. Not saying that well, depending on each person, it's like everybody has a right to their own feelings and stuff like that. So don't ever get me wrong and stuff like that. And always even take my suggestions with a grain of salt. However, the thing is if you come across as, this, this happy, positive, even if you could be struggling and stuff like that, then the same energy will come back to you, where other people actually, treat you with the same. So, my goodness. So, I'm going to finish off with 3 yes or no answers. Please feel free to pause this video and think about the questions you want answered. For number 1, you get a yes with the Ace of Cups. For number 2, you get a no with Judgment reversed. Okay, another card I'm not allowed to show. So, a yes for 1, no for 2, and a yes for number 3 with the King of Pentacles upright. My beautiful, amazing Pisces placements, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. But if this reading resonated for any of you out in this world, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I love you guys incredibly. I want to wish you all the best of luck on where this journey may take you. It looks very promising. So, well, sometimes, by doing nothing or just kind of letting go of all of your stresses and worries can actually benefit you in the long run. In a few days, I'm going back to love readings. Next week, I'm going to do the Macabre Tarot. So please feel free to see how I can help you all overcome your fears and all kinds of anxieties, especially from the Nine of Swords. But other than that, I love you guys incredibly, and as per usual, take excellent good care of yourselves.